The explosion ripped through the Afghan night like God's own fury, hurling Sergeant Elias Kane into a ditch filled with jagged rocks and his own blood. As the dust settled and his squad's shouts pierced the chaos, Elias realized the grenade hadn't come from the Taliban. It had been tossed by the man he'd called brother for 3 years. In that instant, his world didn't just fracture. It shattered into 1,000 accusations, each one whispering the truth he'd hidden. They knew he was gay, and betrayal tasted like gunpowder. Elias clawed his way up, ribs screaming, his M4 rifle lost in the debris. Private Harlan Hawk Reynolds loomed over him, face twisted not in fear but in disgust, the squad circling like wolves scenting weakness. Freak, Hawk spat, loud enough for the wind to carry it back to base. Elias's heart hammered, not from the blast, but from the raw, unfiltered hate in eyes that had once shared foxhole confessions under starlit skies. This wasn't war, this was exile, and it began with a whisper that became a roar. By dawn, the squad had woven their story. Elias, the decorated sniper, had panicked under fire, friendly fired the grenade in a haze of personal demons. Whispers of his orientation, gleaned from a careless email on a shared laptop, fueled the lie. Command bought it wholesale, don't ask, don't tell was dying, but old prejudices lingered like shrapnel in the sand. Elias, bandaged and broken, was medevaced stateside, his purple heart tainted, his career a smoldering ruin. But as the C-130 lifted off, he clutched a crumpled photo of Jamie, the man who'd taught him love wasn't a battlefield, and vowed they would pay, not with blood, but with the weight of their own sins. Back in the States, the humid sprawl of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, swallowed Elias like a bad dream he couldn't wake from. The base was a labyrinth of khaki and concrete, where Southern drawls mixed with Yankee sarcasm, and every corner held a ghost of his old life. He'd enlisted at 19, fleeing the suffocating piety of rural Georgia, where his father's Bible-thumping sermons branded him an abomination before he even understood desire. The Army had been salvation, structure, purpose, brothers in arms. Until it wasn't. Discharged honorably, but with a scarlet letter invisible to all but those in the know, Elias crashed on Jamie's couch in Raleigh, a city pulsing with college kids and craft breweries that felt worlds away from the desert. Jamie Harlan, no relation to Hawk, thank God, was a barista by day, activist by night, with ink-sleeved arms and a laugh that could disarm a bomb. They'd met 2 years back at a Pride rally in D.C., during Elias's brief leave, when Jamie handed him a rainbow flag and said, "Wave it like you mean it, soldier." What started as flirtation bloomed into something fierce, stolen weekends amid deployments, letters that read like poetry amid the mundane. "You smell like hospital antiseptic," Jamie murmured that first night, pulling Elias into a hug that cracked open the dam. Elias broke then, sobbing into Jamie's shoulder about the betrayal, the grenade, the squad's turned backs. Jamie held him through it, fingers tracing the fresh scar on his temple, whispering, "You're home now. Let me fight this one with you." But Elias couldn't, not yet. The rage simmered, a live wire under his skin. He needed proof, not pity. Days blurred into weeks of physical therapy at the VA clinic, where Elias sparred with ghosts. His therapist, Dr. Lena Vasquez, a no-nonsense Latina with a psych degree from Yale, saw through the stoic facade. "Anger's a grenade too, Elias," she'd say during sessions in her cramped office, walls lined with service flags. "Pin it back, or it'll blow you up." He nodded, but inside, he was drafting the letter in his head, not to command, but to the Inspector General, laced with details only he knew. The squad's off-book shakedowns of Afghan villagers, the falsified reports to cover accidental civilian hits, Hawkside hustle smuggling artifacts for quick cash. Homophobia was the spark, corruption was the inferno. Jamie sensed the storm brewing. He worked doubles at the coffee shop to cover rent, but evenings were sacred. Walks along the Neuse River, where fireflies danced like errant tracers. "Tell me about them," Jamie urged one twilight, linking arms as they strolled past joggers and dogwalkers oblivious to the war Elias carried. Elias hesitated, then spilled. About Ramirez, the wiry medic who'd patched his wounds in Fallujah and confessed his own bisexuality over warm MREs. About Corporal Lena Ghost Torres, the only woman in the squad, who'd suspected Elias's secret and covered for him during a close call with a Taliban spotter. They'd formed a quiet alliance, 3 misfits in a machine that chewed up difference. But Hawk, Jamie's brow furrowed, green eyes flashing. He was your spotter. How does a man trust you with his life one day and try to end yours the next? Elias shrugged, the question a knife twist. Hawk had been the golden boy, Alabama farm kid, all drawl and charm, with a fiancée back home named Becca. They bonded over shared playlists of country rock, late-night talks about faith and fear. Elias had almost told him once, after a firefight that left 3 dead, but swallowed the words. Now, he wondered if Hawk's rage masked his own buried truths. A twist came unbidden, in the form of an email from an anonymous sender, 82nd Airborne. Check the shadows. Attached was a grainy photo. Hawk, in civvies, arm around a guy in a Berlin bar during R&R, lips too close, eyes too soft. Elias's pulse thundered. Blackmail? Or a lifeline? He showed Jamie, who paced the tiny apartment, tattoos flexing like war paint. This could be it, the chink in their armor. But Elias, revenge like this, it eats you alive. Elias met his gaze, the love their anchor in the churn. Not revenge. Justice. For me, for Ramirez, for every queer kid they bully into silence. Emboldened, Elias dug deeper, calling in favors from old contacts. Ramirez, stateside now in Texas with a husband and a therapy dog, confirmed the rumors. The squad's morale boosts involved skimming supply funds, pinning it on locals. Ghost Torres, honorably discharged after a knee injury, met him in a Charlotte diner, her dark hair cropped short, eyes haunted. They outed you to save their asses, she said over greasy fries, voice low. Hawk's leading the charge because he's scared of what he feels for that interpreter in Kandahar. Another layer peeled back. Hawk's fling with a young Afghan translator, hidden, forbidden, a mirror to Elias's own secrecy. The pieces coalesced into the letter, typed in a fever on Jamie's ancient laptop, pages filling with timestamps, witness names, the photo as Exhibit A. Elias poured his soul into it. Not just facts, but the ache of betrayal, the sting of slurs scrawled on his bunk. The night Hawk's voice cracked over radio. Kane's got demons, Sarge. Keep him leashed. He addressed it to the IG, CCNG, a reporter at the Washington Post he'd met at Pride. This isn't about me, he wrote in closing. It's about the lies we tell to survive and the truths that set us free. Sealing the envelope felt like lobbing his own grenade. He mailed it from a Raleigh post office, hands steady for the first time since the ditch. Jamie waited outside, leaning against the brick wall, a quiet pride in his stance. Proud of you, he said simply, pulling Elias into a kiss that tasted of coffee and courage. That night, they lay tangled in sheets, not for passion but for solace. Jamie's heart beat a steady cadence against Elias's chest. Whatever comes, Jamie whispered, we face it squared. The backlash hit like a sandstorm. 2 days later, headlines screamed, 82nd Airborne Squad under probe for corruption, hate, crime cover-up. The Post article dissected the letter, anonymous but airtight, quoting Elias's words like scripture. Hawk's fiancée dumped him publicly on Facebook, tagging the piece. Ramirez went on CNN, voice steady. Elias Kane saved my life twice. This squad, they endangered us all. Ghost testified remotely, her account corroborating every claim. Hawk called Elias's burner phone at 3 a.m., voice slurred with whiskey and desperation. You son of a bitch. You ruined us. Elias, awake beside Jamie, felt no triumph, only a hollow echo. I gave you a mirror, Hawk. Look in it. The line went dead, but the fallout rippled. Courts-martial, demotions, the squad's commander resigning in disgrace. Elias's discharge was reviewed, upgraded to medical with back pay, a quiet vindication. But victory's aftertaste was bittersweet. Jamie's ex, a toxic ghost from Seattle, surfaced via email, stirring old insecurities. He'll leave you for the fight, like he left me. Elias wavered, the letter's success amplifying his fears of unworthiness. One rainy afternoon, he packed a duffel, leaving a note. I love you too much to drag you down. He hit the road south, toward George's ghosts, seeking closure in the church that birthed his shame. Jamie found him 3 days later, in a Savannah motel, staring at magnolia trees heavy with rain. You think running fixes this? Jamie demanded, soaked from the downpour, eyes fierce. We're in the trenches together, Elias. No leaving the foxhole. The argument cracked open wounds. Jamie's fear of abandonment from a nomadic childhood, Elias's terror of tainting the one pure thing in his life. But in the raw honesty, they rebuilt. Promises whispered over takeout po' boys, hands clasped like rifles at port arms. Word spread in queer military circles. Elias became a reluctant icon, speaking at VFW halls to vets grappling with identity. At one event in D.C., Hawk appeared in the shadows, gaunt, uniform traded for jeans, eyes red-rimmed. I was wrong, he rasped, voice barely audible. Not just about you. About me. The confession tumbled out. The translator's name, Arif, lost to a drone strike the squad had overlooked in reports. Hawk's hate a shield for grief, for desires he couldn't name. Forgiveness wasn't easy. It came in fragments, a shared beer months later, the first step toward amends. Through it all, Jamie anchored him, their love deepening like roots in Carolina clay. They moved to a craftsman bungalow in Durham, Jamie pursuing a counseling degree, Elias training service dogs for PTSD vets. Twists lingered. A leaked audio of the squad slurs surfaced, sparking congressional hearings. Ghost started a nonprofit for LGBTQ+ service members, crediting Elias's letter as catalyst. And in quiet moments, Elias traced the scar on his temple, reminder that survival wasn't linear, but a series of hard-won battles. One crisp fall evening, as leaves turned gold along the Eno River, Jamie knelt with a simple band of tungsten. Marry me, Sergeant Kane. Let's make this official. No orders, just us. Elias, tears blurring the world, pulled him up. Yes, 1,000 times. In the gathering dusk, their kiss sealed not just a vow, but a life reclaimed, from disgrace to dawn, from betrayal to unbreakable bond. Yet shadows persisted. A final twist arrived via certified mail, Hawk's suicide note, forwarded by his sister. Tell Kane I'm sorry. The letter freed me, even if it broke me first. Elias crumpled, Jamie holding him as sobs racked his frame. Grief wove into their tapestry, a somber thread teaching that justice's price was empathy's burden. At Hawk's memorial in Alabama, Elias spoke for the family, words bridging chasms. He was human, flawed as we all are. May he find peace we couldn't give. Healing unfolded in layers. Elias volunteered with Stonewall veterans, sharing his story to shatter stigmas, while Jamie's thesis on queer resilience drew from their journey. Friendships bloomed. Ramirez visited with his husband, tales of Texas barbecues mingling with war stories. Ghost crashed holidays, her laughter a balm. Prejudices lingered in whispers at base commissaries, but Elias faced them head-on, his letter a shield now, not a sword. Winter brought snow to the south, rare and magical, blanketing their yard in white. Curled by the fire, Jamie read aloud from a dog-eared copy of Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass, verses of comradeship and self. We two boys together clinging, he intoned, voice soft. Elias smiled, the hook of their beginning now a full circle. From a grenade's betrayal to a letter's reckoning, they'd forged not just survival, but a love defiant, deep as oceans, unyielding as American soil. As spring thawed the ground, Elias planted a garden, tomatoes for Jamie's salsa, herbs for their teas, symbols of growth from ash. One dawn, a cardinal perched on the fence, read as the emphasized words of that long-ago hook, singing into the light. Elias watched, Jamie's arm around his waist, and knew the story wasn't over. It was theirs, written in resilience, love's quiet thunder echoing through every trial yet to come. The cardinal's song faded as Elias turned back to the house, the scent of fresh earth clinging to his hands. Jamie was inside, humming over the stove, flipping pancakes with theatrical flair. Fuel for the warrior, he teased, plating a stack drizzled with maple. Elias slid into a chair, the domesticity a stark contrast to memory's echoes. But normalcy was fragile. A call from Dr. Vasquez shattered it mid-bite. Elias, the IG's reopening your case fully. And there's interest from Hollywood. A docuseries? He laughed, disbelieving, syrup sticking to his fingers. Jamie's eyes widened, for pausing. Tell me you're not seriously considering reality TV. But beneath the jest lurked opportunity, a platform to amplify voices like Ramirez's, Ghosts, even Hawks in memoriam. Elias mulled it over during their morning run, pounding pavement through Durham's waking streets, past Victorian homes and bustling cafes. Sweat blurred his vision, but clarity sharpened. This wasn't fame-chasing, it was reclamation. The production team arrived swarms of cameras and earnest millennials, setting up in their living room like an invasion minus the IEDs. Elias navigated interviews with the precision of a sniper, recounting the ditch, the letter, the love that sustained him. Jamie stole scenes, his wit disarming producers, but privately, tension brewed. They're editing you into a saint, Jamie confided one night, wine glass in hand. What if they gloss over the mess? The part where you almost left me. Elias pulled him close, the admission of vulnerability they'd both earned. Then we fight it. Together. Conflicts escalated when a producer unearthed Elias's Georgia roots, interviewing his estranged father without consent. The Reverend Amos Kane, silver-haired and stern in his pulpit robes, decried the homosexual agenda infiltrating our troops, twisting Elias's story into sermon fodder. The clip aired in a teaser, viral outrage exploding online. Trolls swarmed Elias's nascent socials, slurs echoing the squads, death threats pinging like incoming fire. Jamie barricaded the door one stormy evening, eyes wild. This is why I hate exposure. It invites the wolves back. Elias's rage reignited, but tempered now by therapy's tools. He confronted his father via video call, screen glowing in the dim kitchen. Dad, you raised a soldier. Not perfect, but brave. Why can't you see that? Amos's face crumpled, lines deepening. Son, the Bible. But Elias cut in, voice steady. The Bible also says love your neighbor. I loved my team, saved their lives. They turned on me for who I love now. Silence stretched, broken by Amos's whisper, forgive me. It was an absolution, but a crack in the wall, enough for light. The docuseries premiered to acclaim, panels debating don't ask, don't tell ghosts. Elias and Jamie attended the after-party in L.A., a glittering affair of stars and activists. There, a surprise, Arif's brother, smuggled stateside on a student visa, approached with a photo of the translator, smiling, alive in memory. Hawk spoke of you, he said in accented English. Said you were the good one. The revelation twisted Elias's gut. Hawk's complexity, a mosaic of shame and secret affections. Back in the hotel, he wept into Jamie's lap, grief's tide ebbing into gratitude. Home brought equilibrium, but a new conflict simmered. Jamie's acceptance to a Seattle grad program, oceans away from Elias's VA commitments. 6 months, Jamie argued over dinner, chopsticks clacking against takeout boxes. I can defer, but this is my dream. Elias's chest tightened, old fears clawing. Abandonment, unworthiness. And if distance kills us? Like it almost did when I ran to Savannah? The fight spilled into the yard, words sharp as shrapnel, until Jamie cupped his face. Love isn't a deployment, Elias. It's the homecoming. They compromised. Jamie went, but with bi-weekly flights, video dates that became rituals of ridiculousness. Jamie in flannel amid evergreens, Elias in humid haze. Letters bridged gaps, Elias's penned in looping script, Jamie's typed with emojis. Friendships fortified the span. Ghost FaceTimed from her nonprofit launch. Ramirez sent care packages of jerky and queer lit. A high point, Elias's first service dog handover, a golden retriever named Valor to a trans vet named Riley, her handshake firm. Your story gave me mine, she said. Elias choked up, Jamie's voice crackling over speaker. Proud, babe. Twists multiplied. The IG ruled. Full exoneration, back promotion to staff sergeant, retroactive honors. But with it came a posting offer, back to brag, training new recruits. Elias agonized, the base a minefield of memories. Jamie, visiting for Thanksgiving, sensed it. Go if it heals you. I'll be your rear guard. The decision crystallized during a hike in the Appalachians, peaks mirroring his resolve. Yes, for the kids coming up queer and enlisted. Reentry was jagged. Whispers followed Elias through the barracks, but salutes came crisp, respect earned anew. He mentored a shy private, Alex, whose coming out email mirrored his own folly. Write your truth, Elias advised, echoing his letter. Alex nodded, eyes bright. Off-duty, Jamie's surprise visit, flying in with tickets to a Durham drag brunch, reignited sparks. Amid glitter and gospel, they danced, bodies sinking like old times, laughter drowning doubts. Winter deepened, snow dusting the pines. Elias proposed reciprocity, a ring for Jamie under mistletoe in their bungalow, now half-furnished for his returns. Forever, no matter the miles. Jamie's yes was a whoop, echoing through the house. But fate jabbed. Amos's cancer diagnosis, stage 4, pulling Elias south. The Reverend, frail in his hospital bed, extended a hand. Proud now, son, of the man, not the uniform. Reconciliation bloomed tentative. Family dinners with Jamie at the table, prayers evolving to include love in all forms. Spring heralded change. Jamie's thesis defense aced. A job offer in D.C. bridging their worlds. Elias accepted a liaison role with the VA there, proximity a gift. Their wedding planning wove whimsy. Vows at the Lincoln Memorial, reception in a Georgetown speakeasy. Invites went to Ramirez, Ghost, even Arif's brother. Hawk's sister attended, a quiet nod to unfinished peace. The ceremony dawned golden, cherry blossoms framing the reflecting pool. Elias, in dress blues, waited as Jamie walked the aisle, eyes locked. Vows poured forth. In ditches and dances, betrayals and bonds, I choose you. Rings exchanged, kiss sealing, cheers rising like artillery salutes. That night, in a suite overlooking the Potomac, they toasted not endings, but endless beginnings. Love's drama unscripted, resilient as the dawn. Yet drama lingered, a final arc. A leaked squad audio resurfaced in hearings, Hawk's voice exonerating Elias posthumously. Kane's clean. We're the demons. Elias testified, voice unbroken, turning pain to policy, bills passed for queer vet protections. Jamie, beside him, squeezed his hand. Our stories changing theirs. Summer found them in a D.C. row house, garden bursting, Valor the dog chasing squirrels. Elias penned a memoir, chapters raw with hook and heartbreak. Jamie illustrated covers, his art capturing the duality, soldier's grit, lover's grace. Friends gathered for barbecues, tales intertwining like vines. In quiet, Elias traced Jamie's tattoos, each line a map of their journey. One eclipse night, stars veiled, they lay on the roof, hands entwined. From disgrace to this, Elias murmured. Jamie smiled, moonshadows playing. And every twist worth it. The letter had destroyed careers, but built empires, of trust, of truth, of a love that outlasted storms. The eclipse's shadow passed, revealing a sky ablaze with possibility, much like the life Elias and Jamie now navigated in the nation's capital. D.C. was a pressure cooker of power suits and protests, monuments standing sentinel over secrets buried in marble halls. Their row house in Capitol Hill buzzed with energy, coffee brewing for Jamie's counseling clients, Elias's laptop open to vet support forums. But beneath the rhythm, undercurrents stirred, remnants of past blasts. Jamie's practice flourished, specializing in LGBTQ+ trauma, his office a sanctuary of plush chairs and pride flags. Clients like Marcus, a non-binary Air Force reservist grappling with misgendering and drills, found solace in Jamie's empathy. You're living proof, Marcus said after a session, hugging goodbye. Elias beamed from the doorway, but envy flickered, Jamie's impact immediate, tangible, while his advocacy felt like shouting into winds of bureaucracy. A conflict ignited at a Hill briefing, where Elias lobbied for expanded mental health funding. A hawkish senator, face ruddy with scotch, sneered, "We don't need coddling for your snowflake brigade." The room tensed, cameras flashing. Elias rose, measured. "Senator, I've got shrapnel in my leg from men who called me brother, then enemy, for loving a man. Funding isn't coddling, it's armor." The clip went viral, Applause online but backlash offline. Hate mail piling. One envelope laced with white powder, a scare sending them to hazmat protocols. Jamie fielded the fallout, his calm a counterpoint to Elias's simmering fury. Breathe through it. He coached during yoga on the living room rug, poses grounding the chaos. But cracks showed. Jamie's late nights poring over case files, Elias's solo runs along the mall, pounding frustration into pavement. A twist surfaced in therapy. Dr. Vasquez, now consulting remotely, unearthed Elias's suppressed guilt over Hawk. You freed him with that letter, but did you grieve the man he could have been? The question haunted, leading to a pilgrimage. Elias drove to Alabama alone, Jamie's blessing a kiss at dawn. Hawk's grave was simple, a military stone under live oaks dripping Spanish moss. Elias knelt, placing a pebble from the noose. For the foxhole talks we wasted. A groundskeeper, an old vet, shared stories. Hawk's childhood dreams of heroism, buried under machismo. Boy was lost, he said. Your letter? Gave him a way out, even late. Catharsis washed over Elias, tears salting the earth. Returning, he channeled it into a podcast, Foxhole Truths, interviewing queer vets. Debut episode featured Ghost, her laugh booming through mics as she recounted outsmarting bigots with wit. Listeners flooded in, stories pouring. A lesbian pilot's tailhook scandal, a trans sailor's deck swabs turned sabotage. Jamie guested on an episode about civilian military loves, his vulnerability raw. Elias taught me courage isn't charging hills, it's holding space in the quiet. But prosperity bred peril. A producer from the docuseries pitched a follow-up, Elias Kane, Unbroken. Tempting, lucrative, but Jamie balked. Last time, it dragged your dad into the ring. What if it unearths more skeletons? The argument escalated over paella, wine spilling like blood. This is my voice now, Elias snapped. Not revenge, reach. Jamie's eyes flashed hurt. And I'm just the prop? The pretty support act. Reconciliation came halting, a weekend getaway to Shenandoah, hiking trails where waterfalls drowned doubts. Under a canopy of hickory, Jamie admitted, I'm scared of losing you to the spotlight, like I almost did to distance. Elias vowed balance, pulling him into a Cascades mist. You're my North Star, Jamie. Always. They emerged renewed, the series greenlit with boundaries, no family intrusions, focus on forward momentum. Production thrust them into spotlights anew, location shoots at Bragg evoking ghosts. Elias revisited the ditch site via sim, virtual sand stinging eyes. Hawk's old bunkmate, now reformed, apologized on camera. We were cowards. You were steel. Emotional arcs peaked in edits, tears flowing in their living room premiere viewing. Critics raved, but a troll storm followed, doxing Jamie's practice. Clients wavered, calls dropping. Jamie weathered it with defiance, posting a selfie with Elias captioned, Hates loud, loves louder. Support surged, fundraisers, ally influx. Elias rallied, speaking at Pride in DuPont Circle, rainbow flags waving like his old unit's guidon. There, a young enlistee approached. Your letter saved my discharge appeal. Thank you. The cycle turned, victim to victor, mentor. Autumn leaves carpeted the city as they hosted a harvest feast, table groaning with turkey and tamales, Ramirez and husband toasting from afar via Zoom. Ghost brought a date, a fiery journalist named Kai, sparks flying. Laughter echoed, but a call pierced. Amos is passing, peaceful in hospice. Final words of blessing for my boys. Elias flew south, Jamie beside. Eulogy weaving faith and forgiveness. Dad learned late, but he learned. Love wins. Grief tempered joy, but their engagement deepened commitments. Wedding loomed, vendors booked, florist with queer blooms, officiant a drag queen chaplain. A surprise rehearsal twist. Arif's brother gifted a woven prayer rug from Kabul, for peace in your union. Elias teared, Jamie hugging tight. Vows exchanged under blossoms, rings glinting, cheers a symphony. Reception pulsed with toasts, ghosts ribbled, Ramirez's heartfelt. On the dance floor, Elias and Jamie swayed to Johnny Cash, whispers of forever amid brass and bass. That night, Potomac views framed their consummation of promises, bodies and souls entwined in tender affirmation. Post-honeymoon haze in the Keys, conch shells and sunsets, reality beckoned. Elias's promotion brought desk duty, paperwork wars, but purpose and policy tweaks. Jamie expanded his practice, group sessions for vet spouses. A new conflict, fertility talks, dreams of family amid scars. Adoption. Jamie mused over gelato. Elias nodded, heart swelling. Legacy not blood, but chosen. Winter solstice brought a placement call. Twins, foster to adopt, a boy and girl from the system. Chaos ensued. Cribs assembled, nursery painted rainbow neutral. Sleepless nights bonded them deeper, diapers and midnight feeds forging family. Elias rocked the boy, naming him Asher, happy, for Hawk's unrealized joy. Girl Luna, moon to their son. Spring bloomed with first steps, park picnics where allies cooed. But media circled, a Kane clan, profile tempting. They opted out, privacy paramount. Instead, Elias's book deal solidified, manuscript pouring truths. Jamie illustrated, pages alive with emotion. One full moon night, kids asleep, they slipped to the roof. From Grenade to this nursery, Elias marveled. Jamie grinned, stars reflecting. Our plot's epic, twists and all. Love's narrative, ever unfolding, in America's heart. The twins' giggles filled the row house like sunlight fracturing through blinds, a counterpoint to the capital's ceaseless hum. Asher tugged Elias's dog tags. Luna gnawed Jamie's thumb, their chaos a balm to old wounds. But DC's underbelly churned, a scandal brewing in vet affairs, embezzlement rings siphoning funds meant for PTSD care. Elias, now a vocal advocate, caught wind via a whistleblower email. Your squad since had partners. Look to the top. The hook yanked him back, adrenaline surging like pre-mission jitters. He shared with Jamie over bath time splashes, bubbles popping like suppressed fire. Not again, Jamie groaned, toweling Luna. We just got steady. But Elias's eyes burned resolute. This isn't personal, it's systemic. Kids like these deserve better. Jamie relented, kissing his temple. Then we're in. But smart, no lone wolf. Investigation commenced covertly, Elias tapping networks. Ghost journalist Bo Kai dug archives. Ramirez cross-checked manifests from Texas. Patterns emerged. Falsified contracts. Kickbacks to brass who'd overlooked the 82 ND's dirt. A name surfaced, Colonel Vance Harlan. No kin to Hawk, but echo enough to chill. Vance, the squad's old CO, now Pentagon desk jockey, his clean record of facade. Tensions mounted as Elias shadowed leads, stakeouts in sedans munching cold subs. Jamie fretted, pacing with Asher on hip. You're not in the field anymore. What if they come for you, us? Nightmares resurfaced, Elias bolting awake sweating, ditch visions morphing to family threats. Therapy doubled, Dr. Vasquez probing. Powers seductive, Elias. Is this justice or the war you never left? A twist detonated mid-autumn. Vance summoned Elias to a reunion luncheon at the officers' club, crystal glasses clinking amid oak panels. Heard you're playing detective, Kane, Vance drawled, cigar smoke curling. Drop it. For old times. The threat veiled in velvet, but Elias parried. Old times? Like when you buried our reports to climb ranks. Vance's smile cracked, eyes narrowing. Careers end fast, son. Even yours. Home, Elias recounted, Jamie's face paling. Record everything next time. But bravado faltered when Vance's goons tailed their stroller walks, shadows lengthening. Community rallied. Neighbors, a queer cop collective, forming a watch. Ghost flew in, bunking on the couch, her presence steel. We got your six, she vowed over midnight whiskey. Climax brewed in a rainy warehouse district, tip leading to a drop site. Elias, Kai, and a PI waited, hearts pounding. Vance arrived, briefcase heavy, meeting a sleazy contractor. Audio captured crisp, bribes enumerated, vet funds diverted to offshore slush. But escape snarled, tires slashed, a chase through downpour slick streets. Elias floored it, Jamie on speaker. Get home. Now. Bullets pinged fender, panic raw, until sirens wailed, allies tipping PD. Aftermath exploded. Indictments, headlines screaming Pentagon purge. Vance arrested in dawn raid. his empire crumbling like sandcastles. Elias's evidence starred in trials, testimony unflinching. Media frenzy peaked, but boundaries held. Family shielded, kids oblivious in daycare songs. Vindication bittersweet, Elias grappled melancholy. How many suffered for his ladder? Jamie held him through it, their love a steady pulse. You stopped it. That's the win. Twists rippled, Vance's suicide attempt, spilling more names. A foundation born from seized assets, funding Jamie's expanded clinics. Winter thawed into renewal, twins toddling. First words, dada dual delights. Elias's podcast surged, episodes unpacking corruption's queer toll. A high note, promotion to major, ceremonial swords crossed in salute. Jamie beamed from front row, Luna on lap. But personal drama simmered. Jamie's wanderlust, a sabbatical offer to study in Berlin. 3 months, he pitched over anniversary champagne. Elias's gut twisted, memories of separations. Kids need us both. Debate stretched, walks along tidal basin, petals falling like tears. Compromise. Jamie goes, Elias visits with family, FaceTime rituals. Departure wrenched, airport hugs eternal. Elias solo-parented, chaos comical, crayon murals on walls, bedtime stories doubled. Letters bridged, Jamie's postcards vivid. Berlin's walls whispering freedom's hard-won. A mid-trip twist, Elias's book tour, surprise signing in Amsterdam, overlap serendipitous. They rendezvoused, canals aglow, twins FaceTiming Miss Dada. Return heralded harmony, Jamie's insights enriching sessions. Community deepened, block parties with Kai and Ghost, now engaged, their wedding a joint affair planned. Elias mentored Alex, the private now out and thriving, his wedding invite a full circle. Summer solstice, park picnic under elms, twins chasing bubbles. Vance's trial concluded, guilty, sentence heavy. Elias exhaled, burden lifting. Jamie proposed a vow renewal, intimate under stars. To us, unbroken. Ceremony backyard simple, friends circling, rings re-exchanged. Vows evolved. Through scandals and separations, I choose our story. Dance under lanterns, laughter free. Fall brought harvest, book launch, bestseller buzz, proceeds to foundations. Jamie's article in The Atlantic, Love's Battlefield, lauded. Twins' birthday bash, cake frosted chaos, joy pure. One harvest moon, roof perch traditional, kids asleep below. From disgrace's ditch to this, Elias reflected. Jamie nuzzled. Our epic, chapter infinite. Love's plot, resilient, America's promise in their grasp. Harvest moon waned, yielding to crisp October winds that swept D.C. streets like urgent dispatches. The twins, now verbal whirlwinds, parroted Elias's podcast quips, Asher declaring truth wins, over breakfast cereal. Jamie chuckled, but his eyes held a shadow. A client's suicide, the weight of what-ifs pressing. Elias noticed, pulling him aside post-drop-off. Talk to me. We're squad now, you and me. Jamie's confession spilled in the kitchen, coffee cooling untouched. Marcus, the non-binary reservist, lost to despair after a deployment denial rooted in bias. I saw the signs, Jamie anguished, fists clenched. Pushed resources, but Elias enveloped him, the embrace of foxhole huddle. You gave him light. That's not failure, it's fight. Together, they channeled grief into action, a memorial fund, scholarships for trans youth in service. The initiative drew allies, but conflict brewed with bureaucracy. Elias pitched it at a VA summit, suits nodding politely until funding talks soured. Prioritize combat injuries over identity crises. Outrage simmered, but a twist ally emerged, Senator Elena Ruiz, a former JAG officer out as lesbian, championing the bill. Kane, your letter opened doors. Let's kick them down. Coalition building ensued, late nights drafting, Jamie's counseling insights sharpening language. Tensions peaked at a hearing, Vance's cronies testifying smears, soft on security. Elias rebutted, voice thunder. Security starts with souls intact. Deny a vet their truth, you lose the war. Applause erupted, bill passing narrowly, named Marcus Act, a hook for healing. Personal arcs intertwined. Ghost's wedding, Elias best man, Jamie efficient in sequence. Vows exchanged in a Brooklyn loft, Kai's ring a custom forge. Toasts flowed, but a drunken uncle's slur sparked. Fairy tales for fairies. Elias stood, calm steel, loves the real magic. Yours failed, ours thrives. Silence, then cheers, uncle slinking away. Honeymoon glow for ghost faded into their own milestone. Twins preschool plunge, tiny backpacks adorably ask you. Elias teared at the gate, Jamie's hand steady. They're ready, like their dads. But adjustment Jared, quiet house echoing. Elias pitching a sequel book, Jamie eyeing a TED Talk. A surprise conflict. Elias's father-in-law, Jamie's dad, a stoic Montana rancher, visited unannounced. Big Ed Harlan. Irony in the name. Eyed the rainbow flag on the porch with squint, but warmed over grill smokes, grilling burgers and questions. Heard your story, son. Takes guts. Over whiskey, confessions, Ed's own hidden bisexuality, a 70s fling buried in denial. Wish I'd written my letter. Bridge built, family expanded. Winter blanketed the city rare white, sledding in Rock Creek Park shrieks of delight. But darkness loomed, a neo-Nazi rally near the mall, counter-protest called. Elias and Jamie joined, signs high. Love over lies. Skirmishes flared, pepper spray stinging, but solidarity held, arrests minimal. Home, bruised but unbroken. They bathe kids, Jamie murmuring. World's rough, but we're rougher. Spring renewal, book 2 deal, letters from the line, weaving family threads. Jamie's TEDx, healing hidden wounds, views exploding, invites pouring. Twists delighted. A publisher party where Elias reconnected with an old flame, platonic now, laughs over lost youth. Jamie teased, jealous? Nah, secure. But jealousy nipped when Jamie's mentor, a charismatic prof from Seattle days, flirted overtly at a conference. Elias stewed, miles away, text curt. Reunion airport raw. Trust me, Jamie pleaded. Always, Elias affirmed, kiss mending. Lesson etched, love's not possession, but partnership. Summer sizzled, family road trip to Yellowstone, geysers mirroring eruptions past. Twins marveled at bison, Elias snapping pics, Jamie narrating myths. Campfire tales turned therapeutic, sharing squad scars under stars. A ranger, queer vet, joined. Your pod saved my coming out. Fall foliage framed a vow renewal surprise. Jamie blindfolded Elias to the mall. Friends assembled at the Lincoln, Reverend a pal. Rings refreshed, vows voiced. Through rallies and ranches, we endure. Feast followed, laughter lavish. Trials tempered joys, a twin's illness scare, flu turning pneumonia, hospital vigils hand in hand. Recovery rallied them, gratitude deepened. Elias's promotion parade, Jamie saluting from sidelines, pride palpable. One autumn equinox, park bench with thermos, kids napping stroller-bound. From betrayal's blast to this bench, Elias pondered. Jamie leaned. Our saga sweetly serialized. Love's chronicle, chapters cascading in endless embrace. Equinox balance tipped to winter's tilt, deceased monuments frosted like forgotten sentinels. The Marcus Act's first grants dispersed, clinics blooming in bases nationwide. Jamie's fingerprints on policies saving souls. Elias keynote the rollout, podium steady, but post-speech, a letter waited. Anonymous, perfumed stationery. You think it's over? Secrets die hard. Enclosed, a photo, young Elias in Georgia, arm around a high school beau, time-stamped pre-enlistment. Chill unrelated to snow, blackmail's ghost, cinder unknown. Elias confided in Jamie over Coco, twins building block forts. Vance's revenge from bars. Jamie speculated, brow furrowed. Or squad stragglers. Paranoia crept, shadows lengthening on walks, Elias scanning crowds for threats. Dr. Vasquez urged, face it head-on. Fears the real grenade. Probe launched discreetly, Kai's skills sleuthing metadata, postmark Philly, Prince nil. Twists unraveled, Cinder a jilted ex from Elias's brief DC fling pre-Jamie. Bitterness festering over perceived abandonment. Confrontation via coffee shop meet, her eyes defiant. You got fame, I got forgotten. Dialogue disarmed, not with anger but empathy. Jamie's coaching an earpiece, Elias offering. Hurt shared heals. Join the story, don't sabotage. She crumbled, tears salting lattes, confessing isolation's toll. Alliance forged tentative, her art talents illustrating Elias's next project, redemption arc authentic. Jamie hosted a mending dinner, her laughter tentative but true, twins' innocence bridging gaps. Spring surged with verdant vigor, cherry festivals thronged. Family expanded whimsically, adopting a rescue mutt, Buster, tail-wagging therapy for all. Elias's book tour spanned coasts, Jamie tagging for coasts, twins with ghost sitters. A San Fran stop hooked a Hollywood pitch, biopic, Elias Consulting. Your life, scripted, producer gushed. Caution tempered excitement. Authentic, or nothing. Production wooed, but conflicts clashed. Script drafts sanitizing betrayals, glossing queer grit. Elias clashed in reads. Hawk wasn't villain, complex. Revisions raged, Jamie mediating. Art's mirror, not mask. Final cut premiered Sundance, standing ovation. Elias and Jamie front row, hands clasped through credits. Summer scorched, beach escaped to Outer Banks, dunes whispering secrets. Twins built castles, Elias buried Jamie in sand, laughter liberating. But a wave crashed metaphor. Jamie's promotion to director, travel demands surging. Europe conferences, he explained over bonfire. Elias nodded, but heart tugged. Balance, remember? Negotiation navigated, Jamie delegating. Elias embracing solo dad adventures, zoo trips, story hours. Friendships fortified, Ramirez's family Valkyrie overlap, barbecues blending broils. Ghost's baby bump reveal, Auntie Judy's divvied. Fall harvested accolades, book awards, Jamie's MacArthur whisper. But health hiccup, Elias's shrapnel scar inflamed, surgery looming. Jamie canceled gigs, bedside vigil, post-op smoothies blended. Recovery romped, twins nurse, in scrubs, healing holistic. Winter wonderland, holiday lights twinkling. Vow renewal redux, ice skating rink, blades carving commitments. Toast toasted resilience, kids clinking mugs. A final twist twinkled, Vance's appeal denied, but his confession tape leaked, praising Elias's integrity. Closure clicked, Elias exhaling decades' weight. One solstice eve, roof under Aurora teas, family bundled. From letters lightning to this light. Elias marveled, Jamie's head on shoulder, twins yawning. Our odyssey, ongoing. Love's legacy, luminous in American expanse. Yet epilogues evolve. Years folded, twins teens, Asher activist, Luna artist, echoes amplified. Elias retired honored, Jamie Dean emeritus. Grandkids toddled, stories spun of grandpa's grenade, Nana's grace. In twilight years, porch swings creak, Savannah revisit, full circle. Elias's hand in Jamie's, sunset gilding. Best plot ever. Kiss lingers, eternal as ink.